Chelsea monitoring the Jude Bellingham situation. Are Chelsea going to complete the £100 million Jude Bellingham transfer next summer to be a replacement for either Saul Niguez or a long-term replacement for N'Golo Kante and Jorginho? We speak about the latest reports and links in regards to Jude Bellingham. In relation to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, we'll be discussing and delving into his statistics from last night against Aston Villa in the third round of the Carabao Cup, where he was absolutely outstanding, one of the best players on the pitch, and deservedly so was man of the match. And we'll finally be speaking about the contract situation of Antonio Rudiger. We'll be delving into the centre-back situation because it's a bit of a mess at the moment. We are in a bit of a defensive crisis. We're speaking about Antonio Rudiger, delving into his contract situation. Will he be going to Bayern Munich? Will he be extending his contract? We'll be speaking about all of that. But before I do get into it, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. And without further ado, let's get straight into this news daily. And starting off with the Jude Bellingham news. Now, according to Fabrizio Romano, he'd done a podcast. He conducted a podcast on his usual Here We Go podcast. It's on Spotify, available on all those audio platforms. Go and check it out. I listen to it weekly. It's free. Of course, one of the most well-known, credible journalists and reporters. And he's basically confirmed that all the top English clubs, so not just Chelsea, but Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool, are all monitoring Jude Bellingham's situation at Borussia Dortmund. Now, my thoughts, opinions. Now, we knew there were whispers last summer that Chelsea were actually quite interested in signing Jude Bellingham. And if you cast your minds back to a few years ago, Chelsea were actually interested in signing him when he was at Birmingham City, before he made his original move to Dortmund. Now, the two clubs that were leading the race at the time was Manchester United and Borussia Dortmund. Of course, Dortmund ended up winning the race, but Chelsea were actually in the mix. So we have been extensively scouting him. We have had long-standing interest in Jude Bellingham, and that won't stop. Of course, you know, his performances are not going unnoticed by our scouts, by a hierarchy. Thomas Tuchel, you know, he scored against Besiktas in the Champions League last midweek. He's been performing really well for Borussia Dortmund. He's one of Dortmund's best players already, and he's just turned 18, so it really puts it into perspective. You know, you're already one of Dortmund's best players, and you're only 18 years of age. He is considered to be a generational talent and one of England's superstars going forward. So, of course, Chelsea would love to get their hands on him. Now, let's talk about transfer value. Now, I know I put £100 million transfer value, but in all honesty, we don't know the actual value of Jude Bellingham. I'm assuming it will be in that range because Dortmund, they're notoriously known to be really hard to deal with and negotiate with. Secondly, he's, after Haaland, one of their best players. After your Marco Reus's, your Erling Haaland, now that Sancho's gone, Bellingham is up there as one of their most highly rated talented youngsters. He's easily their best youngster, but he is actually one of the best players in terms of the whole Dortmund squad. And the fact that he's only 18 with a long-term contract, you would suspect that, you know, his transfer value, his transfer valuation would be in that 90 to 100, maybe even more, depending on how the rest of the season pans out. Now, the main question is here, are Dortmund going to be selling Jude Bellingham this summer? My theory is no, I don't believe so. Now, Dortmund usually have this transfer club policy where they let their superstars go because that's their business model. It essentially that's basically their business model. Their business model is basically selling their top superstars, but they only allow one per summer. So they allowed Jadon Sancho to go, hence why we couldn't get Erling Haaland over the line, because Dortmund was so reluctant to let him go because they didn't want to let two of their best players go, because they want to secure Champions League qualification for next season, and that revenue and profit is crucial and imperative to the club's finances, especially after the pandemic. So they had this club policy where they only let one superstar go every summer. Last season it was Jadon Sancho. It happened with Pulisic. This season it's definitely going to be Erling Haaland because he's got that release clause coming up in the summer, and all of Europe's most elite are going to be hunting after that release clause. So he's destined to leave, and so that'll be the only player they let go this summer. And so I believe Jude Bellingham will stay this season and then the season after, but I believe in the summer of 2023, that's when I do see Jude Bellingham leaving, and by then he will be 20. He might stay even one more year, but 2021 is when I see him leaving Dortmund. By then he'd be well established. He would have got plenty of experience, not just abroad in Germany, but also in the Champions League, because he'd be playing on the highest stage of European football, and he'd be ready to make his comeback to the Premier League. But it's all well and good saying that Chelsea monitoring. Of course, it's going to have an extortionate transfer value. I don't think Dortmund are going to be, they're going to be once again going to be reluctant, and we know how hard they are to deal with. We had the same thing with Jadon Sancho and United. We had the same thing ourselves just the summer gone with Erling Haaland. So we know how difficult they are. They are notoriously known to be difficult to negotiate with. But he's a player that, of course, Chelsea would like to sign. Now, let's evaluate our current midfield situation. We've got Jorginho. we've got N'Golo Kante, we've got Mateo Kovacic, and we've got Saul Niguez. Saul Niguez, of course, being alone. Now, after 2 games against Aston Villa, he hasn't put in good performances. Now, I still have a lot of faith, I still have a lot of optimism in Saul Niguez, because I believe he will be a superstar for Chelsea, because he was the case for Atletico Madrid a couple seasons ago. And yes, he didn't have the best of seasons last year, but I believe that he can rejuvenate himself, and that will take some time adapting and acclimatising to the English Premier League, and that will take some time. But let's say hypothetically Chelsea don't want to exercise that option to buy, and Saul Niguez returns back to Atletico Madrid. Chelsea then left with 3 midfielders. Mateo Kovacic would already be 26, 27, so he's entering his prime. He'd of course stay here for the long term. But then you've got the two that I love very most, dear to my heart, because they're both world class: Jorginho and N'Golo Kante. Now we need to start planning for the future. Jorginho is 29, and to be fair to him, because he doesn't rely on athleticism, it's all about the mind, the intelligence of play, the positional play, JDP. He can last until the age of 35, 36, because he doesn't rely on his athleticism. He's already a slow player as it is. He doesn't rely on pace and power. So for him, he can still play at the highest level at 34, 35. It's more than N'Golo Kante, because N'Golo Kante relies on pace and power and athleticism. So N'Golo Kante being 30, 31, he will be 31 in March, in 6 months' time. With already his injury concerns, he can't play every 3 days. He can only play once a week. And as he ages, that's going to deteriorate. That's going to get worse and worse. And we need to look for long-term for N'Golo Kante. Who is that long-term N'Golo Kante replacement? Is it Declan Rice? Is it Jude Bellingham? Or is it Aurelien Tchouameni from AS Monaco? Those are the options that our scouts, that our hierarchy have to evaluate in the upcoming summer. But Jude Bellingham would be my first choice. I just think it'll be very difficult to acquire this upcoming summer. But who would you want to sign? Jude Bellingham? Do you think it's realistic to sign him in the summer, or do you agree with me and believe that it's difficult? Would you rather a Declan Rice or a Tchouameni? Leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. But we have to speak about this Ruben remontada, this Ruben Loftus-Cheek remontada. If you guys don't know what remontada means, it's comeback in Spanish, because he really had a comeback last night, didn't he? I'm going to read you out some statistics. Last night against Aston Villa, played the full 90, 88% pass accuracy, 5 out of 5 dribbles completed, 4 recoveries, 8 out of 11 ground duels won, and he completed 3 key passes. For me, he was outstanding. He didn't win man of match. I believe it was either Kepa or Reece James, but he was our top 3. Hands down, he was in the top 3 in terms of performances. His dribbling, his close control, the way he manoeuvres the ball, his press resistance. The guy's been injured for how long? And he was played out of position at pivot, and he still put in a fantastic performance. So credit to him. He was absolutely sublime last night. And hopefully this can continue, because we are going to need him. We are in 5 competitions this season. Club World Cup, let's not forget that. That's going to be at Christmas. We've then, of course, got the Carabao. The FA Cup kicks in January. We're currently underway in our Champions League campaign to retain that. We've also got the Premier League, top of the table and that. So, of course, we want to keep our options open. We're playing in 5 competitions. We need Ruben. We do need Ruben. If Ruben's playing well, it's better for Chelsea. So I'm really impressed, really pleased with his performance. It really could be Ruben remontada now. And let's not get too excited. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's just one performance. But if he keeps up the consistency, if he plays this well, then of course he'll be knocking on the door to potentially start, if not at least impact games and, play in those Premier League games. So let's just wait and see. This is really good news in terms of Ruben's impact on the game, in terms of what he provided to the team, in terms of his dimensions. He offers another dimension compared to what Jorginho and Kante has. So having this type of profile of characteristic of player is really important for a squad. And then you've got Saul Niguez, and Saul Niguez has got to be careful. I know he's adapting and acclimatizing, but if Ruben keeps up these performances, where's Saul going to play? So let's just wait and see. Especially this 3-back formation, we've only got 2 centre mid spots. So I don't think Saul can play in that attacking cam position unless we change the formation. So again, Saul's got to improve his performances, but I'm willing to give him time, and credit to Ruben as well. But let's move on to the final news story. It is in regards to Antonio Rudiger. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Now, according to CF Bayern, Christian Falk, the German journalist who reports for the CF Bayern, they're stating that Chelsea are only willing to pay 70% of Antonio Rudiger's wage demands, which is currently at £140,000 a week, but he's demanding £200,000 a week. There is currently no quick solution in sight, with his deal set to expire at the end of the season. So essentially at the moment, I believe Antonio Rudiger is on under 100k as it is a week. Now, he's not even in Chelsea's top 10 highest earners, which is baffling considering the performances he's been putting in, because he certainly is a top 10 player in the squad. So of course, in terms of meritocracy, if you are going to extend his contract, you would have to match those wages. Now, here's the disparity here, the disarray. Chelsea are only willing to offer him £140,000 a week, as the report states. He wants £200,000. Now, surely you'd say that with negotiation and everything, they can meet in the middle. It seems like Rudiger's reluctant. He's reluctant for that £200,000 a week, and we've got to be careful, because in 3 months' time, when January hits, he's got 6 months. He would have 6 months left on his current contract, meaning that he is allowed to sign a pre-contract with any other club outside of the Premier League, and that means that Chelsea could potentially lose him on a free. And again, Graham Bailey, another reporter, stated that contract talks between Chelsea and Antonio Rudiger are currently at a standstill, and the deal is not closed at this stage. He believes he is worth a similar amount per week to the likes of a Romelu Lukaku and a Timo Werner. So again, it really is around that £200,000 a week barrier. Let's wait and see. Hopefully we get it sorted out. And this is why I quickly wanted to speak about the centre-back crisis that we're currently experiencing. Rudiger's got 6 months left, just over 6 months left on his current contract. Christensen hasn't signed an extension, although there is a lot of optimism he will extend. That is very close according to Matt Law. You then got Azpilicueta. He's also got 9 months left on his current contract. His deal expires this season. We haven't extended that. We haven't done anything in regards to as 3 centre-backs, and we've only got 5. Malang Sarr is not Chelsea quality. We need to find a home for him. Trevor Chalobah recently signed a new contract, which is really good news. But again, is he reliable long term? We don't know. We don't know in regards to that. And of course, you've got Thiago Silva, who's aging. Yes, he's only got, he's 37 now. He's only got 1 year left of his contract, and he's world class. But he is aging, so he can't play week in, week out. That is an injury crisis. We have to sign a world class centre back. Christensen, I'm pretty confident, will sign an extension. If Thiago keeps up these performances, he will sign an extension. Trevor Chalobah has already extended his contract. Malang Sarr will leave. Azpilicueta and Rudiger are 2 that we have to extend, and I believe we do need to sign a centre-back in the summer or in January. So let's wait and see whether that's a Jules Koundé, whether that's a Matthias de Ligt. We'll have to wait and see. But what do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. If you did enjoy it, remember to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.